Welcome back. Jerry Durham here. Selling your practice, preparing. You know, I'm going to say this a million more times. You're either in the process of selling or you're preparing to sell, right? The day you start talking to someone, you're selling. Everything you do beforehand is preparing because, I get it. You can talk to some advisors or some buyers and sellers to get an idea what to do. But once the legal process starts, where you start signing paperwork, non-disclosure agreements, stuff like that, you're in the selling process. And the work I'm talking about in all these videos and the work I'm talking about now is the work to be done before, the preparing part, up to that day that you sign that first legal document that says, hey, let's talk. So this leaky bucket, you guys have heard it before. It is the visual. It is another term for arrive, pay, and stay. Now, if we look at, we know damn well that your leaky bucket is losing you money today. So that's money you put in the bank, right? It's also decreasing the value of this asset that you want to sell. And I'll tell you why. We spoke about this a little bit, right? The price you get for your practice is that bottom line. It's a hard number. It's your EBITDA. It's, shall we say, it's non-negotiable. It is what it is. It shows up on the bottom line. Your leaky bucket affects not only your bank account today, but your bottom line. When you put the systems and processes in place to decrease cancels, decrease no-shows, decrease drop-offs, therefore more arrivals, more completed plans of care, right? You are over and over systematically creating more revenue against your expenses that show up on the bottom line. So the sooner you do this and the more consistency you show in that bottom line number, the higher the price you will get. This is the beauty of this. Fixing this leaky bucket brings you a higher price and brings you more money in the bank today, right? So if you were spending money on marketing, on acquiring patients, and that's whatever, man, marketing is acquiring patients. And we could do it word of mouth, web forms, doctor referrals, client events, community events. It doesn't matter. It's marketing. If you're spending money on your marketing and you're bringing people in and they're leaking out, that is an expense in the equation. That is a bigger expense with a smaller revenue. Now, here's the key thing. I rarely tell people to cut their expenses. The question is, how do we grow your revenue? So if you're spending, I'm going to just use round numbers, $1,000 a month on marketing, and you're bringing people in that continually churn out, right? Fall out of that leaky bucket, then that bottom line is going to be different because your revenue, right? The revenue number is going to be smaller. And when you take your revenue and minus it from your expenses, you're going to have a smaller number at the bottom. If you spend that same $1,000 and you bring people into the system and you keep them into the system, your top line, your revenue is bigger over and over, month to month, right? That's more money in the bank. But then when you go to do the math, the revenue minus the expenses, you didn't increase your expenses, right? You just you pulled more out of it, more arrive, more pay, more stay, right? So that bottom line is bigger. I mean, it really is simple math. And it is that simple. I'm not going to say, oh, it's more complicated than that. It's not, right? And this is what I find interesting about people that are chasing lowering their expenses. I'm like, no, if you lower your expenses, are you going to cut marketing and therefore cut your revenue source, right? So this optimizing the business, optimizing your current systems, optimizing your current processes is what's more important. Here's part 2 of that. You can then show a system, a reproducible system to bring people with your spend, to bring people into your practice, your clinic, your business, and maximize the revenue all at the same time. That's the show your work part I talk about. You got to be able to show your work. Now, so here's the double whammy, my friends. You've increased the bottom line, so you'll increase that price. But now by being able to show the work of how you increase your bottom line, you've now increased your leverage on the multiple. That leaky bucket is killing you on both sides of the equation, man. On the price you're going to be offered and the multiple. fixing your leaky bucket, one thing, doing one job, right? Addressing arrive, pay, and stay increases the bottom line, the financial number, and then increases your leverage for a bigger multiple. That's the showing your work. That leaky bucket is killing your business more than anything else today. And when you're preparing to sell, this has got to be one of the first things you look at. Yeah, there are other boxes to be checked. I get it. But what else do you do in your business that impacts your multiplier and your bottom line? The price you're going to demand. The price you get, what you demand is the multiplier. There's nothing with a bigger impact than addressing, acknowledging, and then fixing your leaky bucket, because it's killing the value of your business. It's killing your bank account today. And it's killing your value when you put that for sale sign up. So that's how I want you to think about this. You got to address that leaky bucket. What are we doing with the people currently in the business? Again, there's no increased spend here. That's the beauty. For that same $1,000 spend, you get to drive more top line revenue. You know what other people do? Because they have that leaky bucket, they increase the spend and the revenue holds stable. Do the math on that. That number's going down. So you got to spend more money just to maintain the status quo. Fuck that. No, spend less money, right? The same amount of money to drive the top line, not keep it the same. That's the sad part about all this. I run into people spending more and more on marketing every year to maintain status quo. I'm like, holy shit, your revenue's not going up and your expenses are. Impacts your bottom line. Make your asking price smaller. So $1,000 going into marketing, let's make sure we've optimized that and maximized that. Then put another $1,000 in and watch your revenue go up, up, up without your expense. Well, by the way, the ratio of the spend, right? The ROI on that will be 2-3 times more. So again, that's why I'm not looking to cut expenses. I'm looking to optimize all the money you're spending to increase that arrive, pay, and stay. Sweet. Thanks for listening all.